A healthy person has 1,000 dreams. A sick person only has one. And right now, there's 60% of the people in this country who have only one dream. If they can make it through a day without pain, with energy, without having to take medications.
Goal is to make America healthy again. Let's bring in our guest, Dr. Marty Makary, Food and Drug Administration Commissioner, Secretary Robert F. Kennedy, Jr., Dr. Mehmet Oz, Administrator for the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and National Institutes of Health Director, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Secretary, this is unique in that you work with all these guys very closely, and it's a different scenario for HHS.
Yeah, I actually had Tommy Thompson in this morning talking to me, who is the HHS who had my job under the Bush administration, and I was talking about my relationship with these gentlemen who are running the agency, running the major sub-agencies of HHS, and he said that nothing like that had ever happened in history. I say that I talk to them typically about 2 or 3 times a day. We're friends. We go to lunch together. We stay at each other's homes. We vacation together. And then, you know, we're aligned on in our vision. Friendship is based upon shared values, and that's the strongest bond that holds people together. And in this, we all share a vision that's been a lifelong vision for all of us, which is to make our country healthy, to have evidence-based science, to have gold standard replicable science, and then use that to challenge what we have, this kind of bedrock system that is destroying our health, which is a complete misalignment of economic incentives and public health. Yesterday we met with the heads of all the biggest pharmaceutical companies, and I said, I want to live in a place where you can make money by making people healthy. And right now, we're all aligned against each other. The healthcare system in this country is a bundle of perverse incentives that force people to do the wrong thing. And we've turned this country into a sick care system rather than a healthcare system. And all these people are the people who are going to change that.
I know you all have a lot of balls in the air, but I'd love to go down the row and just talk about the big thing that each of you are dealing with, working on. First, FDA. Marty?
Well, first of all, we want to focus the agency on cures and meaningful treatments. In the last administration, the #1 priority the commissioner stated was fighting misinformation, and the DEI staff ballooned out. We want to focus on cures and meaningful treatments. We believe in the letter and the spirit of right to try, and there's amazing stuff in the pipeline I've seen. We're talking about new treatments for stage 4 cancers, for neurodegenerative disorders, for diabetes that we've never seen before. Why does it take 10 years on average for drugs to come to market? Why are we blaming children for being sick and not looking at our food supply? Why are we thinking it's a willpower problem as we watch half of our nation's children with belly pain or attention deficit disorder on medications? And can we use common sense and gold standard science both? And that's the charge that we have from Secretary Kennedy.
You've also obviously done the dyes recently, and we covered that extensively. There's this question about vapes coming over from China, and that they're really pervasive in our country, and kids with like video games and getting vapes, and they're dangerous. That falls under FDA.
Yeah, it does. These are devices that are designed to get kids addictive to playing a video game, and there's an inhalation port in the device. They're showing up at our borders, and what we have been doing is just sending them back. And so the Chinese manufacturers are just sending it to another port. It's called port shopping, and they all get in. They're laughing at us. So that's going to stop in this administration. We're not going to allow these devices to get in. We're going to confiscate them.
Mehmet, there's a lot of focus on Medicaid and Medicare, and it gets demagogued all the time, that you're coming after it, that you're going to kill it, that you're going to cut it. What do you say to all that?
Our goal is to put health back in Health and Human Services. And under Secretary Kennedy, and that's why we're all here, we're laser focused on the broader picture, the more holistic picture. In the back of this wonderful theater that we're recording in now, there's a quote from Hubert Humphrey. The building's named after him. He's a Democrat. And he said it's the moral obligation of government to take care of those of us at the very dawn of our lives, children, at the twilight of our life, the elderly, and those living in the shadows, That's our focus. It's quality of care at all levels, and we're working together to make sure that happens. In every single scenario that we're looking at, we're increasing payment in Medicaid, putting more money in the Medicaid. Increasing. So the question is, how do you spend that money so efficiently that you stop throwing money at problems, but actually deal with the broader health needs? Addressing the fundamental reality that 70% of the money that CMS spends, and that's on Medicare, Medicaid, the exchanges, CHIP, 70% of the money we spend is on chronic illness. And we're not getting our money's worth. So for folks listening right now, it's your patriotic duty to be as healthy as you can, and it's our job to help you get there, make it easy to do the right things. At the same time, we've got to make wise decisions because we're stewards who have to protect the money for the population that Hubert Humphrey described.
Fiscal year 2024, largest percentage of improper payments, $54 billion Medicare, $31 billion Medicaid. Earned income tax credit was 15, SNAP was 10.5. But I mean, you're looking at 5 million in improper payments?
Billion.
Billion. That's an underestimate.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We have a war room now, a war room to fight back against adversaries. And these aren't just small-time players. These are foreign governments, weaponized, organized crime. And why are they coming after us? Because our budget is nearly $2 trillion if you include the monies that are spent that we direct but sometimes don't come out of our pocketbooks. But the direct budget just for CMS is $1.75 trillion. That's twice the defense budget. So there's a big target on our back, and folks are coming after it. And they're the kinds of things that should make you mad. It's USAID on steroids, frankly. I'll give you a couple examples. Almost 250,000 Americans found out by surprise because they got an IRS notice that they had gotten the Affordable Care Act insurance without knowing it. Why would you sign someone up without telling them they have insurance? Because brokers can steal the money. We have hundreds of millions of dollars spent on housekeeping. We have tens of millions of dollars spent on public unions getting free child care or student tuition or DEI programs. I have an obligation, all of us do, to protect the people that Humphrey was speaking about. And if we're not going to protect the most vulnerable, that's who they're stealing money from, then we're not doing our job. So we're going after, there's a new sheriff in town, and we're coming after folks in a very big way.
NIH, always looking to the next thing, but there are people concerned that funding is drying up. In the president's budget, FDA is spared, but there's $33.3 billion cut from HHS, $18 billion from NIH, $674 million from CMS. Does that affect you, and how do you portray that about what NIH is doing?
I mean, I think the key fact I look at for NIH is that the mission of the NIH is supposed to do research that improves the health and longevity of the American people. And since 2012, we've seen no increase in life expectancy in this country. In that sense, the NIH has not done its mission over the last dozen years. And in fact, NIH was involved in supporting research that may have actually led to the pandemic that we all just went through. We'll
speak to that for a second. Gain of function just signed this executive order the other day in the Oval Office. What does that mean to the average person? You can stop it on the U.S. side, but obviously it's happening around the world.
The U.S. is the primary state that sets the example for how to do this kind of work around the world. When the U.S. says, look, we're not going to allow scientists to play God, take viruses with cockamamie justifications, make them more transmissible, more deadly, that doesn't protect us against anybody, and it causes tremendous risk. And what the president did by signing this order is he said, no more. We're not going to have another lab-generated pandemic on my watch.
The Surgeon General nominee was supposed to be a hearing today on Capitol Hill. Dr. Neshwat was pulled. She's heading here to the HHS. What happened with all that?
What happened with her withdrawal? We talked to Dr. Neshwat. We're going to put her at a very good place here at HHS. Casey Means, we felt, was the best person to really bring the vision of MAHA to the American public. She has this unique capacity to articulate it. She's written a book that really mobilized, galvanized the movement. She is an extraordinary. She is excellence in everything that she's ever endeavored.
Obviously, she's come under her own criticism about some of the things she's advocated for. She never finished her residency, and she doesn't currently have an active medical license. But that's not
She was the very top of her medical class at Stanford. She's during her residency, she won every award that she could win. She walked away from traditional medicine because she was not curing patients. She couldn't get anybody within her profession to look at the nutrition contributions to illness. And she said, if we're really going to heal people, if we're healers, we can't just be making our life about building new procedures. We actually have to figure out new approaches to medicine. And that's the kind of leadership that she's going to bring to our country.
And last thing on this, your former running mate weighed in today saying that she wasn't happy about this and said that you're somehow being controlled. Your decisions are being controlled. That's what she posted.
Listen, you guys sitting here, 4 people who were all canceled during COVID.
Yeah, right.
Of these people are, you've got the entire leadership of this agency is renegades who are juggernauts against convention and who are trying to look for truth no matter what the cost.